Before we dive into this chilling tale of betrayal, survival, and justice, if you love stories that grip your heart and keep you on the edge of your seat, please hit that subscribe button for Clara's stories, like this video, and drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. I'm dying to know. Your support fuels these stories, so check the description for donation options to keep us going. Now, grab a warm drink, because this is a story of a mother's love, a daughter's fight, and a brother's hidden power that turned a cruel prank into a reckoning. Let's begin. The air that day at the Harringtons' lake house on Lake Tahoe smelled of pine needles and fear. To everyone else, it probably just smelled of pine and the faint smoke from the grill that had long gone cold, but I always caught that bitter undertone, like a warning whispered by the wind. It was October 12th, 2025, and the chill off the lake was sharp, slicing through my sweater as I sat on a wicker chair on the porch, a little apart from the polished mahogany table where the Harringtons held court. I watched my daughter, Sarah, move among them, pouring bourbon for her husband, Nathan, and his father, Victor, her laughter too bright, too forced, like a child trying to please a stern teacher. My heart ached with that sound. Even after 3 years of marriage, she was still trying to win their love, chasing something they'd never give. My name is Margaret Ellis, a 58-year-old retired librarian from Sacramento. I raised Sarah alone after her father left when she was 6, teaching her to find strength in books and quiet moments. I'm not one for drama, but that day, in the Harringtons' sprawling estate, a cold fortress of dark wood and glass that stared at Lake Tahoe like a predator, I felt a dread that sank into my bones. The lawn was flawless, not a weed in sight, and the sun glinted off the water and the chrome of their Bentley by the gate, but it didn't warm me. It just made everything look sharper, colder, like a blade waiting to cut. I only came because Sarah begged me. "Mom, please," she'd said, her green eyes pleading over a video call. "It's just a weekend. Nathan's family wants everyone together. It means so much to him." I knew it meant more to her. She wanted to believe she'd married into a real family, not just wealth and power. But Victor Harrington, with his smug grin, and Nathan, with his mocking eyes, were a facade hiding rot. They were old money, their fortune built on real estate and tech investments, untouchable in their world of influence. I'd never trusted them, but for Sarah, I swallowed my unease and came. The trouble started after lunch, as the wind picked up, rattling the pines and sending ripples across the lake's glassy surface. Victor and Nathan had been drinking since noon, their laughter growing louder, their gestures wilder. They'd been needling Sarah all day about her small-town roots. "A teacher," Victor had scoffed, swirling his drink. "That's sweet, Sarah, but you're in our league now. Time to step up." Nathan, leaning back in his chair, added, "Yeah, babe, you gotta toughen up. This family doesn't do soft." Sarah's smile faltered, but she forced a laugh. "I'm happy teaching Victor," she said, her voice tight. "It's important work." Nathan rolled his eyes, and I saw the hurt flicker in her face. I wanted to snap at them, to tell them to stop, but Sarah caught my eye, a silent plea to stay quiet. She'd always handled their jabs herself, trying to keep the peace. Then came the prank. Victor stood, his glass raised, his voice booming over the wind. "Sarah, you keep saying you're tough. Let's see it." He pointed to the lake, its surface dark and rippling in the fading light. "Back in my day, we swam in October. Built character. Let's see you take a dip." He grinned, but it wasn't friendly. It was predatory. I felt a chill deeper than the wind. The lake was freezing, the air barely above 40 degrees, and the pier jutted out over water that looked black and endless. Sarah laughed nervously. "Victor, it's too cold," she said, tugging her scarf tighter. "I'm not dressed for swimming." Nathan smirked, mimicking his father. "Come on, babe. Don't be a greenhouse flower. Show us you're not just a city girl playing tough." "Leave her alone," I said, my voice low but firm, cutting through their laughter. It sounded out of place on that porch, like a crack in their perfect world. Nathan turned to me, his eyes glinting with malice. Margaret, chill. It's just fun. Right, Sarah? He winked at her, but it wasn't playful. It was a challenge. Sarah nodded, her smile strained. It's fine, Mom. But it wasn't fine. I saw Victor and Nathan exchange a look, sharp, conspiratorial, like hunters circling prey. Let's get her to the water, Victor said, standing. A little dip'll wake her up. What are you doing? I shot to my feet, my heart racing. Victor, stop. This isn't funny. They ignored me. Nathan grabbed Sarah's arm, and Victor took the other, pulling her toward the pier. She gasped, half laughing, half protesting. Guys, no. Let go. Her voice wavered, still thinking it was a game. I hurried after them, my shoes slipping on the damp grass. Stop it. You're drunk. You don't know what you're doing. They didn't hear me, or didn't care. They dragged her to the end of the pier, the water lapping below, dark and unforgiving. Show us what you've got, teacher, Nathan sneered. Sarah's eyes widened, fear replacing her nervous giggle. No, please, she cried, pulling back. I reached for Nathan, grabbing his sleeve, but he shoved me aside, hard enough to make me stumble. In that moment, with a final laugh, they pushed her. Sarah's scream cut off as she hit the water with a dull splash, her body vanishing beneath the surface. Ripples spread, then nothing. Silence. 1 second. 2. 3. A silence louder than any sound. Then they laughed, booming, cruel laughter that echoed off the lake. That'll toughen her up, Victor said, wiping his eyes. But Sarah didn't resurface. I stared at the water, my scream trapped in my throat. Then I saw her, a flash of her pale face, blood trickling from her temple, her eyes unfocused. She gasped once, then sank again, her body limp. I screamed, a raw, animal sound that tore from my soul. Help! She's drowning! She hit her head. Victor and Nathan stood on the shore, unmoving. Oh, come on, Margaret, Nathan said, waving a hand. Stop the drama. She can swim. End the hysterics, Victor added, turning toward their Bentley. She'll crawl out. A little cold won't hurt. They walked to the car, still chuckling. I screamed again, my voice breaking. Where are you going? She's dying. The doors slammed, the engine roared, and Nathan leaned out the window, grinning. Don't ruin our night, Margaret. See you at home. The tires crunched on gravel, and they were gone, leaving only the hum of the engine and the lapping water. I stared at the lake, my scream dying in the cold air. Panic turned to ice in my chest, heavy and sharp. Then I heard it, a faint putt-putt of a motor. A small boat emerged from the reeds, a man in a worn flannel jacket at the helm. A fisherman. I didn't scream again. I had no voice. I raised my hand, pointing to where Sarah had sunk. He saw my face, my frozen gesture, and turned the boat sharply, the motor roaring as he sped to the pier. What happened? He shouted, his weathered face grim. I couldn't speak, just pointed at the water. He cut the engine, grabbed a boat hook, and scanned the depths. I stood helpless, watching his precise movements. He knew the lake. I, who'd faced so much, was useless, a bystander in my daughter's fight for life. He hooked her jacket, a flash of green fabric underwater. Leaning over, he pulled her into the boat, her face blue, lifeless, blood matting her hair. The ice in me shattered into sharp shards. I dialed 911, my fingers numb but steady, giving the address in a mechanical voice. The fisherman performed CPR, his hands steady, while I spoke to the operator. Images flashed. Sarah at 4, giggling in my lap, at 10, reading her first novel, at her wedding, glowing with hope I'd doubted. I'd stayed silent then, swallowing my fears for her happiness. What a fool I'd been. The ambulance arrived fast, lights flashing against the water. Medics swarmed Sarah, attaching monitors, wrapping her in blankets. Pulse weak, hypothermia, head trauma, they said. The fisherman stood back, clutching his cap, then walked to his boat without a word. I nodded my thanks, and he understood. As they loaded Sarah, I pulled out my phone again, my fingers trembling not with fear but with rage. Cold, pure, like the lake itself. I scrolled to a name I hadn't called in years. Daniel. My older brother, Daniel Ellis, a disgraced investigative journalist who'd once brought down powerful men before they destroyed his career. We'd fought over his ruthless methods, but now I needed them. I pressed call. It rang 4 times before his gruff voice answered. Who's this? Daniel, it's Margaret, I whispered away from the medics. They hurt Sarah. Her in-laws. They pushed her into the lake, left her to die. She's in the ambulance now. Silence. Then, tell me everything. I told him, Victor's taunts, Nathan's smirk, the push, the laughter, the blood on her face. They're heading home, I said. Do what you do best. I'm on it, he said, and I hung up, a terrifying calm settling over me. The Harringtons thought they were untouchable, but they didn't know Daniel. He wasn't just my brother. He was a shadow, a predator of secrets, and their world was about to crack. The ambulance ride was a blur of sirens and antiseptic smells. At the hospital, Sarah was rushed to the ICU, concussion, hypothermia, water in her lungs. The doctors said she'd live, but she wasn't out of danger. I sat in the cold corridor, staring at the floor, when a nurse approached. Mrs. Ellis, you have a delivery. A vase of white roses, their heavy scent like a funeral, sat on the counter. A note in elegant script read, Margaret, let's not let this spoil our fun. Nathan. I folded the note, my face still, and slipped it into my pocket. It wasn't an apology, it was a taunt, a declaration they still held the power. They were wrong. I told the nurse. Throw them out. My daughter's allergic. She looked confused but complied, and I sat, plotting, the ice in me sharpening into purpose. Daniel called that night, his voice hoarse. I've got something. 23 years ago, Victor Harrington and his partner, James Carver, went boating on Tahoe. Only Victor came back. Said Carver fell overboard, drunk, hit his head. Case closed in days. Too clean. My grip tightened. What else? I found the detective, Tom Walsh, retired now, living in Reno. He was paid off, cash and threats against his family. Carver's widow kept his journals, where he wrote about Victor embezzling millions from their company. He was going to the DA. A week later, he drowned. What's the plan? I asked. No courts, Daniel said. They'd buy their way out. I'm going to their allies, politicians, investors, media. I'll make them toxic. Do it, I said, picturing Nathan's smug grin. Make them pay. Over the next few days, Sarah stabilized. I read to her from her old poetry books, her hand warm in mine. She was quiet, her eyes carrying a new weight. She'd called Nathan once, but he dismissed it as drama, and I saw her faith in him break. Meanwhile, Daniel worked in the shadows, gathering evidence. Carver's journals, Walsh's confession, a recording of Victor bribing an official. He tapped his old network, editors, bloggers, even shadier contacts from his past. On the 4th day, a news alert lit up my phone. Harrington Empire faces scandal. 23-year-old murder allegations resurface. Daniel's exposé detailed Victor's crimes with cold precision, including Carver's journals and the fisherman's account of Sarah's rescue. Social media erupted. #Harrington scandal trended. X posts shared the evidence, and news outlets from Sacramento to New York ran the story. Victor's investors fled, his partners distanced themselves, and the police reopened Carver's case. I imagined Victor in his sleek office, staring at his phone as his empire crumbled. Nathan would be pacing, hungover, still thinking Sarah would crawl back. They tried to silence Daniel, sending men to his old address, but he'd moved years ago. The break-in only fueled the story, proving their desperation. Sarah was discharged a week later. She filed for divorce, her decision calm, no tears. Nathan's letters from jail, full of fake remorse, went unanswered. We packed up her life, leaving the Harringtons' world behind. I'd bought back our old Sacramento apartment, 2 bedrooms, creaky floors, a view of the library where we'd spent her childhood. "It's ours again," I told her, handing her the keys. Her smile, real for the first time in years, was my freedom. That's the story of Margaret, Sarah, and the brother who turned a cruel prank into justice. What do you think? Was Margaret right to unleash Daniel's secret, or should she have trusted the system? Where's the line between revenge and justice? Share your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read them. What city are you watching from? If this moved you, like, subscribe, and consider a donation to keep Clara's stories alive. Check out the recommended stories on the screen, and explore our channel. Thank you for being here. With love, until the next story. A phone rings, the secure line. An old friend, Senator Mark Reynolds, who owed him favors. Victor smiles. "Mark, good to hear you. What's up?" No greeting, dry, cold tone. "Victor, we need to talk." "Not on the phone." Victor frowns. "Something wrong." "A man was here. Journalist, but acted like a DA. Persistent." A cold lump in Victor's gut. What did he want? That 23-year-old case. Carver. Asked about the boat, money, your argument. New details only 3 knew. You, me, dead Walsh. The office narrows, air thin. Silence. "Victor," Reynolds continues, "no friendship, only steel. I covered it once. Not again. My reputation matters. Solve this, keep my name out." He hangs. Victor sits, stalks a jumble. His hands sweat, the same hands that pushed Sarah. His brain, used to threats, audits, can't connect. Some journalist, old case. What link? He calls Nathan. Nathan stumbles in, relaxed, reeking of gym and bar. Still waiting for Sarah's call. What's wrong? Victor stares at his son, seeing not heir but problem source. Your mother-in-law. Did she threaten? Nathan grins. Her. She'll cry to Sarah. That's it. Did she call anyone after? Don't think so. Stood like a statue, yelling, but I didn't listen. It dawns on Victor like poison. That quiet woman, never taken seriously. Her dead calm on the phone. Not despair, a plan. He leaps up, to the window. His world wobbles. Not family dispute, not drowning, the call from the shore to an executioner. She has a brother, he mutters. Daniel Ellis. Journalist. Ex-journalist. Forgot him. Nathan looks confused, not grasping the catastrophe. Still thinking wife, inconvenience. But Victor understands, the grenade unpinned, held all these years. At the lake, she let go. He snatches the phone, calls contacts from encrypted memory, people he fed, who owed him. His voice cracks, demands, threats, please. The mechanism of suppression fails. Responses, confusion, cold politeness, dial tones. His world disobeys. Rats flee, tearing ropes so he doesn't drag them down. Nathan stands pale, seeing his father unravel, fear seeping in. The lake joke was a trigger for something terrifying. I didn't see it, didn't need to. I felt it, like a thunderstorm's pressure. No gloating, no satisfaction, just cold calm. The process ran its course. That day, Sarah improved, sitting up, color returning. We talked little. She slept peacefully. I left, remembering the hospital library on the ground floor, a dusty room, forgotten. I'd been a librarian 35 years. That world. Ordered, silent, wise. I found it, door with peeling sign. Library. Inside, small, dusty, vaulted ceiling smelling of old paper. Shelves lined walls. Table piled with books. Chaos. I began work, not asked, but needed for balance. I sorted, wiped dust, checked call numbers, shelved. A tattered Toni Morrison between Zora Neale Hurston and Alice Walker. Classics with classics. Medical guide to top shelf. Technical section. James Patterson thriller to fiction. Movements slow, ritualistic. I thought only of books, restoring order in this space, a counter to destruction I'd set in motion. The chaos receded, table cleared, shelves ordered. Peace came, creation amid ruin. My phone rang. Daniel. I wedged it between ear and shoulder, shelving. He's running like a caged animal, he said, predatory joy in his calm voice. Calling everyone, pressuring, buying, intimidating, but too late. Info leaked. Friends shun him like leper. Toxic. Good, I said, placing Baldwin. He knows it's you, me behind. He'll try force, send people. Be careful. I know. Don't worry about me, big brother. He laughed. Haven't lived at my address long. Safe. You'll need lawyer soon. Though even that won't help. We said goodbye. I pocketed the phone, picked a children's fairy tale book, ran my hand over the glossy cover. No fear for Daniel. He was in his element. No hatred for Harringtons. They were objects, chess pieces in Zugzwang. No need for their panic. In this dusty library, I was calm, restoring order in my life, Sarah's world. Soon, the last book shelved. Silence would fall. Real. Final. When the last book found its place, deep weariness came. Not physical, spiritual, like finishing a long task. I looked around the tidied room. Harmony reigned. I left, closing the door, returning to hospital smells. Meanwhile, Victor's agony peaked. Resources exhausted, calls ignored, threats laughed at. His empire a house of cards, foundation pulled. Desperation made him stupid. He called his security head, a sullen ex-SEAL with empty eyes. Find this journalist, Ellis. Talk to him seriously, so he forgets my name, his own. The man nodded. Routine. An hour later, 2 dark cars pulled into an old housing project courtyard. 4 men in black jackets entered the stairwell, smelling of damp and cats, climbed to the 7th floor, apartment 47. Shabby door. Doorbell rang. Silence. Again. Silence. Enter, the leader commanded. The largest rammed the door, frame tearing with a crash. They stormed in, but empty. Dust on furniture, yellowed newspapers, dried plant. No one lived there long. A trap, simple, humiliating. While they stared, Daniel, miles away in a rented hotel, watched his laptop. Blog open, text ready. Headline, drowned twice in the same lake, 23-year impunity. Below, facts, data, names, Carver's letters, Walsh's interview recorded, fisherman's testimony, Rose's photo with note, lake report. Cold precision, no emotion, just facts, terrifying in totality. Daniel glanced at the clock. He'd waited, hinting through informants they'd come. Brute force their last move. He used it. As they broke the door, showing methods to neighbors, Daniel clicked publish. Emails to news agencies, TV editors, DA, DOJ, bloggers, figures. Deep breath, exhale, send. Nothing at first. Then his phone vibrated. 1 call, 2, non-stop. Journalists pounced. The story exploded. The break-in turned investigation to crime story. Viral, websites, social media. Harrington became synonym for crime, cruelty. Their spark-extinguishing attempt started a wildfire. All left was watching flames consume their world. Daniel turned off devices, stood at the window, city bustling indifferently. His work done. Now, slower forces, state, opinion. He'd told the truth, more terrifying than fiction. A month passed. I stood in the empty living room, air smelling of cardboard and dust. Sunbeams drew streaks on the floor, dust particles dancing. Last box taped. I ran my hand over it, Sarah's handwriting, books, handle with care. Sarah sat on the windowsill, knees hugged, watching the busy street. She'd changed, not outwardly, still slender, fair, serious eyes. But the ingratiating gaze gone, fear gone, quiet wisdom in its place. She'd grown more in this month than 10 years. We packed in silence, cozy, like close people. No words needed. Movements meaningful. I wrapped her favorite mug, she nodded gratefully. She found our old park photo, smiled gently. Not just packing, clearing debris, separating worth keeping from leaving behind. The world flipped. Daniel's story bombed. Criminal cases, attempted murder on Sarah, reopened Carver. Victor and Nathan arrested, faces confused on TV. Empire collapsed. Partners fled, accounts frozen. We didn't follow news, watch shows. Our war ended with publish. Rest consequence. We focused on our quiet life. Sarah filed divorce, firm, calm, no tears. Nathan's jail letters, remorse, love, read, torn. No belief in words. Lake taught actions. Last box closed. Chapter ended. Sarah jumped down, looked at empty walls. Where now? Voice quiet, uncertain, like emerging from dark to light. I pulled keys, old, familiar, silver book charm she gave years ago. Bought our old apartment, I said. 2-bedroom near library, remember? Her eyes widened, surprise, warm joy. Small rooms in brick building, creaking floors, high ceiling, window to green courtyard. Where she grew, we were happy. Sold to help their down payment. Regretted years. Now back. I put keys in her palm. Renovate needed, but walls stand, stories too. Unfinished story there. Time to write ending. She squeezed them, genuine smile. First in long time. Not forced, her own. Yes, Mom. Time. We left without looking back. I closed door, left key in lock. No need. Downstairs. Outside, moving truck waited. I drove, Sarah beside. Through city, evening sun illuminating. I looked at road, no fear of future. We'd make it. Freedom not punished enemies, believed truth. Sitting beside, looking at houses, sky reflected in eyes. Freedom, child safety, simple start over in apartment near library, unfinished stories, unread books waiting. Time ahead, a whole life to read them. This concludes Margaret's story. About quiet strength, mother's love, justice not through courts, but phone call. Prompts reflection. Line between revenge, order, forgiveness, impunity. Margaret didn't plead consciences without. Chose cold path, only correct. What think? She right. Could different, trust failed system? Or only response to evil masked respectability? Choice not plot twist. Profound moral question, each answer own. Interested your thoughts. Questions on character's fate. Moments piqued curiosity? What awaits Victor, Nathan? Can Sarah new life, free shadows? Share Eleanor's feelings, key moments. Write comments. Discuss together. If touched, support channel. Like, subscribe, share opinion. Feedback best reward. Allows new stories. Creating stories, research, preparation takes time, effort. Donations ensure continuity, quality. Support, any amount, contributes Clara's stories continuing. Thanks, generosity, community part, like story, city listening from, meet comments, support super thanks, bring more, thanks sweet support, looking comments, screen, 2 new stories recommend, much more channel, don't forget subscribe, see next, love, respect.